Okay, this video is being made for Nadine, one of my students, who made some requests for different poses she hasn't been doing in her home practice during COVID. So she just wanted some cueing reminders. So here we come back to the mat. And let's just start standing for a moment. And place your tongue where hard and soft palates meet. Look down at your feet and bring your second metatarsal bone from second toe to mid ankle parallel to one another, unless you know otherwise. And then let your spine lengthen skyward. Let the hot air balloon lift you from that center palate and let your shoulders dangle away from the lift. Breathe space between your vertebrae. And let's inhale. Reach the hands skyward. Lift up, grounding the four corners of each foot. You can lift your toes, lift your arches, stretch the myofascia of the body open. And then exhale. Let your hands come down to your sides and roll your shoulders. We're going to begin with a little core wake up. So go ahead and lay down. If you use a pillow, bring a pillow or blanket in under your head. Make sure it's firm, that it's not running into your neck, but it is supporting your natural cervical curve so that your hairline and chin can be even. Let your arms come to your sides and just nod your head yes. And then almost lift your head from the hairline as the chin and the neck crease rest back. So instead of jutting your chin to lift the head, try to lift the head from the hairline, the top of the forehead, and then release back. And exhale, nod nose towards mouth, and don't even lift the head off the floor, but almost lift it from the hairline and feel these front neck flexors activate. Really important for postural alignment in the warrior poses that we'll do later. And release. And one more time, nod nose towards mouth. Extend out through the spine, almost lift from the hairline, and release. And rest your shoulders broad, let your arms open. Breathe into the body, and let's inhale. Take the arms overhead for a moment and stretch from pelvis through arms. Izzy's joining the class today. Let your low back ribs rest back as you open your shoulders. And then exhale, Izzy. And then, oops, sorry. Bring your arms back to your sides. Then float one leg to tabletop and then the other. And pause for a moment. Ground the right side body and take the left leg open to the left and then exhale back to center. And again, take the left leg open like the page of a book, keeping the right leg still, the right sacrum grounded, the right low ribs, the right shoulder, and exhale back to center. And then grounding the left side body, take the right leg open and back to center. And the right leg open, grounding left shoulder, left low rib, left sacrum, and back to center. We become aware of the back body one more time. Right leg out, exhale it back to center. I'm becoming a chew toy. And then draw your right knee in, lengthen your left leg out. Nod your nose towards your mouth. Almost lift from the hairline. This is a home video. Nodding your head, you may wake up your neck flexors. Those of you without osteoporosis or penia or neck injury may lift up and look towards your leg, and then we'll switch and switch and switch. This is still really good abdominal core work if your head is on the ground. Fluid breath, lengthening through the leg. Try to stretch the leg long, opening the knee all the way so that we wake up the vastus medialis. And then hug the knees in, bring your heels together, stretch hands and feet towards the sky. Take wrists away from ankles, circle the hands and draw the knees in. We inhale out to our point of control, low rib ring resting back, circle and hug in. We do these poses to activate our awareness of the core and our ability to stabilize from this low back rib ring. Fluid breath. We want to know where it is in space and not flare the ribs up when we come out here. We can keep these integrated and reaching for the hip pointers. And hug in. Now bring your legs to tabletop, rest your arms to your sides, and take a few fluid breaths. deep into the pelvic bowl. Fill and open the rib cage all around the circumference. And on the exhales, relax onto the floor. One more deep inhale and full exhale. And then float your hands up behind your head. Really let the head rest back onto the hands, traction the back of the neck, and then lift your right elbow, lengthen your right leg out, hug the left knee in, and switch. Really reach the right elbow skyward. Rest the head back and switch. With osteoporosis or penia, we reach straight up towards the sky with the elbow. If we want more of a twist, we bring the armpit across to the opposite knee. But we don't lose the lift. We keep the lift and we keep lengthening the spine out through the top of the head, resting the head back, resting the chin and the neck crease back, working our inner core, working our obliques. And then we come to center. We rest the head back, the arms down, and we will float one foot to the floor, landing light as a feather, and then the other. And we come back to a fluid breath. Okay, let's roll ourselves over and let's come up and reach for our bolster. If you don't have a bolster, you can use two blankets, like two of these blankets stacked like this. So you would fold them well, stack them like so, one on top of the other. Or you could stack these on top of your blocks, one under your pelvis, one supporting your ribs for the chaturanga work. Okay, we come down onto the bolster. We bring the humerus bone parallel to the floor. We don't drop the head of the arm bone towards the floor. We lift it up, broaden across the collarbones. You can bring a block in for your forehead if you like. And as you press your hands down, fingers pointed forward, find your shoulder blades on the back. Toes turn under. We press hands and feet into the floor, and we imagine there's a helium balloon under the pelvis, under the navel, under the low ribs, and we almost lift off the bolster, or maybe we lift off the bolster, and then we release. But we keep the head of the arm bone up. And then we reach tailbone for heels, pubic bone towards navel. We find those helium balloons under pelvis, navel, low ribs, and we lift. Low plank, and we release. You may just almost lift off. That's still great activation. Shoulder blades on the back, humerus bones aligned. We don't drop them into the front of the rotator cuff. We lift the navel. We lift the spine. We may float off the bolster and release. Point the toes back and take an inhale. Drawing the hands back, letting the heart lift forward, lengthening the spine. We open. And then we exhale and we grow even longer as we come back down. We only go as far as we can keep the spine long. Notice I'm not throwing my chin forward and shortening my neck. I'm lengthening the spine isometrically, drawing the hands back, pubic bone rooting into the bolster and through up to my inner collarbones. I don't lose connection. And then I exhale and lengthen back down. One more time. Take an inhale, shoulder blades on the back body. They help draw the spine forward from the back. We inhale, lift and open, and exhale. Roll back forward, bringing your hands back by your hips, palms down, thumbs out. Lift the head of your arm bones. Inhale, let your feet and hands float up. Let the hyoid bone float in. Lengthen out through the top of the head. Head of the arm bones lifted, strengthening the back body, keeping the back of the neck long. Salambasana. One more deep inhale here, and then exhale, release. And roll back and come into a supported child's pose for a moment, breathing deeply into the back body. Fluid breath. I can't lay my cheek down to face you because I have this earpiece in. Okay, so take another breath there, and then move the bolster out of your way and lengthen your spine into a downward dog position, grounding your hands, fingers evenly spread. Feel each finger pad, your index finger knuckle, roll up. Take your sit bones back, knees bent. Take a few fluid breaths. You may be able to take your femur bones back, but have the focus be on a long spine in the pose. My little doggy likes my downward dog. Fluid breath, stretching long. Then step the feet forward. Knees bent, let yourself be in a standing child's pose for a moment. And then lift your palate in line with your heart. Reach your hip pockets down towards your heels as you unhinge and come to standing. Good. All right. So we've strengthened our core, awakened up a little bit, and now it's time for a few standing poses. So we're going to step our feet wide. We're going to come into Veerabhadrasana 2 first. So let's turn the left foot out and lift the right heel, take it back, and inhale, lift your arms. Remember, it's heel to heel alignment. And we want the hot air balloon to lift us skyward so our spine lifts right up out of the pelvis. We're not already tilted forward. We're really tall and strong. And then our foot's pointing straight ahead. Our knee follows right over the second metatarsal. Ankle not in front, knee not in front of ankle. Or we may even lift to the ball of the feet to find that opening and then lower the heel. So we stay body, torso facing the long edge of the mat. Front knee open over the second and third metatarsal bones. We rest the arms on water and we look out over the front fingertips. Fluid breath. Feeling into the four corners of the feet. Imagine that you're rooted to the ground and drawing nourishment up from the ground with each inhale. Your palms face the ground. You can draw in nourishing energy from the earth with each inhale. One more deep inhale. And then straighten the front leg. Turn it in from the femur bone. Turn the right leg out. Toes point forward. Lift the left heel. Take it slightly back. Hot air balloon lifts you skyward as you lift your arms and rest them on water. And then we bend into the front knee, tracking it over the second metatarsal bone. We keep the left shoulder back on the back body so that we're facing the long edge of the mat. And we keep reaching back into the back leg as we stretch the front leg forward. We draw the neck crease back. We let the hyoid bone and head rest back, shoulders rest back, and then we turn the head to look out over the front fingertips. And we come back to the breath. We may even want to do some movement with the breath, turning the palms up. We inhale and gather in sky energy and draw it right down through the body. We inhale, draw in earth, palms down, turn palms up, draw in sky. We let the earth and sky energy rain through us, moving through each cell. We inhale, hands float up, drawing in earth, drawing in sky. And we exhale, let this energy rain through us, washing out stagnant energy. We come back to our Vira 2, looking out over our front fingertips. We take another fluid breath. And then we straighten the front leg. We turn it in and we step together. We pause in mountain pose, head resting back, hyoid bone resting in, shoulders resting back, sacrum resting back. Fluid breath. We feel into the four corners of the feet, energy running up the calves, through the knees, down the shins, down the hamstrings, through the knees, up the quads, through the groins, pelvis upright on top of the femur. Hot air balloon lengthening the spine skyward. Shoulder blades on the back body, center of the heart and inner collarbones lifted. We breathe in mountain pose, taking in the pranic energy. Releasing stagnant energy, stiffness, anxiety, tension. A few more fluid breaths. Okay. Nadine asked for warrior poses, so let's step back and come into warrior one. Let's step 1 foot back, 1 foot forward. We used to give the direction that you wanted to bring the headlights of your hips forward. And we want to do that as much as possible without compromising weird pressure on the SI joints. So if your hips are a little to the side, that's okay, because we have this spine that's mobile and it can twist forward. So once we come into position with the front leg bent, knee not farther forward than the ankle, and the back outer heel and pinky toe grounded, we inhale and reach the arms skyward. Now, tailbone can descend towards earth, low back rib ring can rest back. And then we inhale, and it's like there's a bolster behind our shoulder blades. We roll back over the bolster and open the heart skyward. And we take a few fluid breaths in Warrior One. We are strong. We can make it through this pandemic and back into community. Fluid breath, drawing in the energy of the earth, the energy of the sky, whatever the weather is like for you today. One more deep inhale. And then exhale. Let your hands come down to your sides and step forward into your mountain pose. Pause, feeling your feet, feeling the ground, and then noticing how the energy moves inside your inner landscape. How has it shifted with just 15 minutes of practice? And then step the other foot back. It's angled out slightly. You're not on a tightrope. And then we bend into the front knee. We don't drop this back femur bone totally forward and just hang out on the ligaments. We hollow these back groins back. Tailbone under. There's a lift from pubic bone to navel. We have this pelvic loop going that helps us avoid pouring the pelvis forward, pouring the belly and front ribs out. And we lift up the length of the spine. Inhaling, we reach the arms skyward. We don't bring the shoulders up around the ears. We release them and broaden at the base of the neck and reach out through each finger. Fluid breath. We're alive in the front body and the back body. We draw energy up the calves, through the knees, down the shins, down the hamstrings, through the knees, up the quads, through the groins. Not a hard back groin, a softening in the back groin. One more deep inhale. Can you lengthen the spine? Rest your shoulder blades on the bolster, open the heart. And then exhale, up tall, release the arms, and step forward, mountain pose. Fluid breath. Okay. There was a request for a couple twists, so we will start opening the legs wide, turning the feet out slightly. And you can stay with legs straight if bending the knees hurts your knees. This is fine. Or you can bend your knees out and let your pelvis descend in what's called goddess pose. We inhale the hands up, palm facing palm, and we exhale, elbows open, finding the shoulder blades on the back, palms facing forward. Really feel into your shoulder blades, move them around a little bit, and then let them lovingly hug onto the back ribs without squeezing towards one another. Then think of where your right shoulder blade is and where your left hip pocket is. Can you keep the legs still and bring the right shoulder blade around towards your left hip pocket? Come turning up from the low spine through the spine of the rib cage, and then let the head turn last. Don't crank the twist. Breathe space between the vertebrae. Look out the far corners of your eyes. Let your eyes even be in the twist. But don't let the left knee follow you around. One more deep inhale. And exhale back to center. Take another deep inhale. Hot air balloon lifting you. And exhale, left shoulder blade around towards right hip pocket. Move up through the thoracic spine before you turn the head. The head may want to turn first. Try not to let it. Let yourself walk up the spiral stair around your spine, looking out the far corners of the eyes at the end like you're in a watchtower. Fluid breath. Right knee staying open. We inhale back to center, release the arms, straighten the legs, turn them in, and step together. We pause on the four corners of the feet. We breathe up through the spine. We inhale, float the arms out to the sides. Step your feet outer hip distance wide. Bring the left arm over the right, around into Garudasana arms. So this can be hands back to back at the wrist. It can be across at the elbow, hands back to back, or you can bring the palms around, palm to palm. Whatever works in your body is beautiful. Inhale, reach the fingertips skyward. Reach the elbows a little away from you to just kind of stretch into the shoulders. And then come into a neutral position. Take a deep inhale. And exhale, slowly begin the twist at the low spine. Twist to the right. Breathing in under the left shoulder blade. Can your knees and hips stay forward as you come into the twist? So we twist and breathe deep in under this right shoulder blade. The head turns last, and again we look out the far corners. And then we exhale back around and release and roll the shoulders. And float the arms up like wings and bring the right arm over the left. Come into your chosen arm position. Remember, don't hurt the body by pushing into a position that isn't good for you. Inhale into the whole torso. Exhale, slowly begin the twist from the base of the spine. Walk up the lumbar spine, spiral stare, and then the thoracic spine, keeping knees forward. Let the head turn finally, and look out the far corners of the eyes. Fluid breath, breathing in behind the right shoulder blade this time. Fluid breath. And then inhale back to center. Release your arms and roll the shoulders. And pause in your mountain pose, feeling the echo of that work through the inner landscape of your body. Feeling the breath ripple through the inner landscape like a breeze through the trees. Can you soften and relax in your standing position? Awake and ready for the day. If you are ready to just go on from here, or if you'd like to come into a restorative, you could bring in your bolster, bring in a pillow, lay in front of your bolster. Now, if the bolster's too big, you could use a small blanket roll. You could just roll up a little bit of the blanket and do the same thing that I'm going to show you. You can traction the head up and over the bolster. You may want to put on socks and a sweater first, or bring a blanket to cover you. And then you can lift the arms up long overhead. If your hands don't come to the floor, you could put blocks under each back of hand and wrist. You could put a couch pillow there. And you just rest in this extended back bend over the bolster. If it's not feeling good in your lower back, you can reach your tailbone away from the bolster and set it down. You could also put a blanket under your buttocks. And then you can lengthen the legs out if you like, or you can keep the knees bent. And you can breathe into opening the heart now. Fluid breath. So we strengthened the core, made the core aware, came into some planks, did a downward dog, which is a forward fold, standing child's pose, forward fold. Then we did some hip openers and another back bend with the Veerabhadrasana 1. A few twists, and now a back bend over the bolster. One more deep inhale, and then exhale, hands in behind the head. Support the head as you come up. Walk the legs in and roll yourself over. And if you'd like to come down into a Shavasana, you can bring the bolster around under your knees. Get your blankets, get your cozy sweater. Make sure you have a pillow. And let yourself rest. Your arms can externally rotate, palms up, and you can tune into the breath. Remember that just 4 minutes in a restorative pose like this can reset the nervous system. So if you can, give yourself the time to let your body settle into the hug of gravity. Feel the earthiness, the wateriness, the space inside your physical form. Let thoughts move through like petals of a flower floating downstream. And see if you can rest in the expansiveness of your own being for a few minutes. Each exhale, a letting go into the hug of gravity, a release of tension from the body. If it's hard to ground, you could bring in a 10-pound sack of rice to place over your pelvis from hip pointer to hip pointer next time. You could bring a heavy blanket to put over your spine next time. You could put an eye pillow over your eyes if that would make you rest back more fully, or I should say, would help you to rest back more fully. Fluid breath. Each exhale, a deepening of the relaxation. You may stay in the Shavasana as long as you like. I hope you have a nice day. Namaste.